Nancy here. Today I'm going to mass produce some spinner cards and use them as thank you cards. I've done several different colors and you'll see in my video that I kind of rotate back and forth between two of the cards that I've made, the blue and the orange. I actually made 12 of these spinner cards. I've been wanting to try to make one for a while and it looked a little bit intimidating, but it really isn't too bad. So I'm going to break down what I did. Today I'm using a Technique Tuesday stamp set and I'm going to use the heart and the sentiment heartfelt thanks. I've got two circle dies that I'll use to cut the center out and then also to create the little finishing touch. And then I'm using this square to create a panel. You're going to need some stick-it tape and some glue. And then we're going to use, I use both ink and vellum and then embossed hearts in blue and yellow and red and violet. And I actually like the embossed heart, I think, the best. The ink works okay, but it's just not, it doesn't pop quite as much. So after you have whatever you're going to use as the spinner created, then you're going to need the panel for the card, the colored piece to go over the top of the card, and then a coordinating ring to go along the outside. Make sure you open up the card panel so you don't cut through the back of the card and cut the circle die all together, and you'll have to run that through several times through your cutter to make sure that it cuts. So to assemble the card, you're going to need to make sure that your circles all line up evenly together. The first time I did this, I must have not had the circle lined up correctly because I had to redo it. It didn't fit over the top. So then I'm going to cut out my hearts, and you want to make sure that both sides of the heart line up together when you're attaching them. You don't want to have any overlap on one side or the other. Also, one time when I made these, I had it a little close to the circle and then it wouldn't flip. So the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and stamp in my sentiment, and I'm going to heat emboss it with the blue heat or the blue embossing powder. And I'm using my little embossing pad to make sure I don't pick up any embossing powder where I don't want it. And then I'll go ahead and take that over to my heat gun and run that through, and then I'll be right back. Another thing you want to be careful of is where you're stamping that sentiment. The first time I did it, I stamped it in the back of the circle, which would probably be okay, but you could see it. And then the next few cards I made sure it was down under that panel. So now I'm going to assemble the heart and attach the thread, which is going to create the spinning mechanism. So I'm using some stickum tape and placing that all down along the edges of my heart and on the top part of the panel, and then again around on the sides. And you want to use something that's strong because as you twist and turn this little device, you don't want it to pull away from the card. I'm going to use twine to attach to the heart to act as the spinning device. And I tried embroidery floss as well, but I think I like the twine better. It's a little bit heavier. And then you want to make sure you also add some additional glue in there around the stickum tape and make sure that everything fits down nicely. Again, you want to make sure it all lines up and that there's not an overlap on one side or the other. So to assemble to the card, you're going to line it up in the circle and make sure it doesn't interfere with anything, and try to get it as straight as possible. And then you're going to adhere the panel down, and on a second card that I made, I went ahead and used extra stickum tape across the top where the twine is, because I noticed when I was twisting it a little bit, it was kind of pulling on it, and I wanted to make sure it was real secure. So trim off the twine so that you can't see it from the edge of the cards. And then I used some Tombow glue to adhere the finishing band around the circle cut. And I wanted to make sure I got plenty of glue on it so that it adhered nicely. And then you also want to let that, put something kind of heavy on it and let it set for a few minutes before you start messing with the panel. I decided that this particular card needed a finishing touch, so I cut some really thin strips of the coordinating cardstock and just placed on the top and the bottom of the card, and I was happy with the way that card looked. So what you do is you twist that spinning device up and you lay it down flat, and then when you open it up, it spins. So when you send the card, you want to make sure that you wind it up and then stick it in the envelope like so, so that when the recipient opens it up, the card will spin. I think this would be a really fun card to get, and I hope you give it a try. It really wasn't that difficult. It just takes a little planning in getting your color coordinated paper and um, item that you're going to use as a spinner together. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up and go do something creative today. Thanks for watching.